Hello, this is Jess from Waxon Batik Dye Studio, and I'm here to show you the secrets of getting a really great tie-dye t-shirt. I'm going to talk to you about direct application method, which is tie-dye in bottles. I'm going to show you how to get your shirt to the perfect saturation point where it's not too full of dye, but where you don't have like awkward white space. So I've got my upcycled t-shirt from a thrift store. It's great to find garments from thrift stores and secondhand shops and clothing swaps because see how there's a few stains on this shirt? We're gonna dye right over that. No one's ever gonna see them. So this is a great way to take your clothes from, oh, I spilled something on it, to brand new garment. What we're gonna be doing with this t-shirt is the spiral pattern, which is one of the classics, one of the easiest ones to do. And if you know how to apply the dye right, you get really great results. So this shirt has been soaking in a soda ash solution that we mix up here at Waxon Studio. And I'm just gonna wring it out to make sure that there's no extra drips, because the wetter the fabric is, the more the dye is gonna run away. We wanna work with it damp, but not soaking. Okay, to do the spiral, we're gonna select where on the shirt we want the spiral to start from. So I'm gonna choose right here in the very center. I'm gonna pinch and twist. We want to think about making a hurricane twist low to the ground, not a tornado twist that comes up off of the table. And with your other hand, you can sort of guide it into shape, but really the most natural thing that the shirt will do is what you want it to do. So I'm just going to sort of guide it into making this nice little cinnamon bun. And then we want the sleeves to kind of tuck in around the edge. And the way we're gonna keep it here, I'm just doing a 4-color spiral, so I only need 2 rubber bands. I'm gonna floss the table and then relax the band so that it hasn't altered any of that complicated twisting and folding I did. Again, stretch it out, floss the table, and let it go into quadrants. Now the nicest side will be the side that was against the table. I'm gonna switch this rubber band so that it's holding in that edge. You see how nice and flat that is? That's where we want to start applying our dye. So this is what it looks like before we do the dye for the spiral. So what we're going to be doing is putting on the dye, which is dye powder. We use professional dye powders, and it doesn't look like much when it's in powder form. You can't really tell what color it's going to be. Professional dye powder plus urea, which is one of the chemicals that we use to make these colors really form an adhesion to the cells of the fabric here. So those have been mixed up into this bottle. This is berry, and I'm going to start applying it. I want it to stay in this section right here, because what I'm going to be doing is 4 colors wrapping around itself. And by folding it up this way, we get a perfect spiral. So I'm going to turn the bottle upside down for this application. We never want to hold it straight out because we're not going to we need to work with gravity and the flow of the dyes here. I always tell my clients this is a liquid art, so you can't get too particular about where the dye goes and doesn't go. And I'm used to working on the table. Some people work on grids and let it drip through, but actually what I want to demonstrate here is how to get the perfect saturation. So I'm going to be doing what we call CPR. I'm pushing the dye deep down into the folds of the fabric. You can see that it is creeping a little bit past my rubber band line. No problem. We are enemies of perfection here in the tie-dye world. So I'm going to take a little rag here. I'm going to wipe down the extra off of the table. And what we're looking at here is that when I pick up the shirt, there isn't so much dye that it's dripping out of the shirt. We don't want it to become a puddle. In fact, what we want is to be able to peek inside the folds and see exactly how far down the dye has gone. I'm aiming for about 50% or more towards the table, because what I'm going to do when I flip this shirt over for this pattern is apply the same color in the same place. Less this time. Right? I need about 20% as much dye this time as I did on the other side. Then we're going to repeat our CPR, and I'm really pushing hard. Use your muscles. You really want to feel the table underneath you. And the thinnest place in the shirt is the very center. So I'm trying to keep the dye away from the center and more on the outsides. Now if I check my folds, I should see that it goes all the way through to both sides. Now aesthetically, you can leave a little white in between. It depends on what kind of look you want. But what we're doing is controlling the saturation point of the shirt. And I'm going to repeat that for all 4 colors going around. Same color here as I put here. Now, I'm not too worried about the contamination here that came from the table because I'm going to be covering this up with dark purples and dark blues. If you're doing something where you've got a really light or bright color here and a dark here and you don't want any cross-contamination, you can just work a little more carefully with wiping down your table in between. But honestly, you're not going to see that at all once you finish dyeing. Here we have the finished shirt. It is completely saturated with dye. We've got the berry color here, and the other colors here. And I can go ahead and just check and make sure that my dye got all the way through. And look at this beautiful blend that you get here where the berry hits this pink color. There's a little more white in some places there, but that's gonna look really good. Then we go into the eggplant. And you can see right where eggplant, ooh, that's gonna be so gorgeous. So this shirt is finished dyeing. What we're gonna do now is we're gonna let it sit and cure for 24 hours. At Waxon, you have the choice of leaving it here with us and we will actually process it for you. We'll let it cure and then we'll wash it with professional textile detergent, dry it and fold it, and it'll be ready for you to pick up, or we can deliver. Or it's more cost effective for you if you take it home with washing instructions and rinse it and wash it and dry it at your house. So however you want to come in and use our facilities, you can use our professional expert instruction on getting the perfect tie-dye t-shirt.